talk about, it was really interesting because you said you're like, I always saw myself at Penn State. I love Penn State. And then, your first year in school, you were at a different school.
Yeah.
And so then were you like the whole time still, because you're redshirting, were you still like, I'm motivated, going to like get in the transfer portal, go to Penn State? Or was it like kind of, more of a question in your mind, or what was the mindset?
I think now, like it would be cooler if I could say it was like,
Right.
if it was like, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But honestly, what happened the first time with having to enter the transfer portal, like I never wanted it to happen again.
Right.
And honestly, like it was sitting down with Ben and my dad and my mom, and as moms are usually right, my mom said, I think if you don't go to Penn State, you're always going to wonder what if, like what could have happened. And that's totally right, because they sat through it when like we'd have dress down days at our private school, and all I'd wear was Penn State, like from top to bottom, the socks, the shirt, the hat, like I loved it. And so I felt like it had to be more open-minded, because I really wanted to make sure that the second time was right.
Yeah.
And that I didn't have to go through what I had to go through again.
Right.
And even like I was thinking, like, if this is, if what college wrestling is, and you guys know what that is, a lot of the time, the way that people train, I was like, honestly, I'm ready to just get my degree online and just do freestyle.
Yeah.
Like I want to enjoy the sport.
Right.
Badly. And if I'm not going to enjoy it, honestly, I was ready to I was looking into becoming a firefighter or something.
Right.
Like I was ready to do something. And because if that's how wrestling was going to be, I was going to be done.
You didn't want the toxicity and the negativity and all the stuff that, the other side of the coin that comes with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the usual. That's kind of the usual thing. And so when it was like time to get into the portal, and see, I don't want to like
throw people under the bus.
Exactly. I'm not, and that's not my intent here, but like, I think everybody can agree that there is some sort of an extent of like a facade that gets thrown up when you go on visits.
Absolutely.
And you got to see through.
Trying to sell it.
Yeah, and you got to see through the smoke and mirrors, and you got to do a good job of it, and you got to be able to feel the the genuine nature of people, and maybe honestly the disingenuous of, and not that's that bad. You're just there. People want you to come to their school, and
it's a used car salesman. It turns into that a little bit.
Yeah, and so you got to really like, and I was just really honestly looking, like feeling my gut, like what did I feel, and I took Ben, it was really good with Ben having both of ththose, my mom and dad and Ben. Absolutely. In this, like during that time, because Ben, just bouncing ideas off of each other. And Ben was like, hey, you should probably, once you hit the portal, it's probably going to go a little crazy. You should probably make a smaller list. Yeah. So that you don't have to lead coaches on and stuff like that. And I went on a few visits, and I actually thought that I was going to need multiple visits because I did the first time, and again, like I said, I didn't want to end up with what happened, so I wanted to make sure it was right. But I took unofficial, like 3 or 4 unofficials, and then I took Penn State official. And yeah, like Coach Kale doesn't really play games, and the coaching staff doesn't either. And so it was like, just come out on unofficial, why not? And so I came out, and I was sitting in practice, and I'm sure you guys were there. Like I was sitting at practice, and then like that gut feeling, that nervous, like uneasy. And I personally believe that God speaks to us through intuition. And I just felt like my intuition it was like, this is it. Mm-hmm. And so I went up and talked to my mom and dad. I talked to my dad up at the top of the bleachers. I was like, I think this is it. And he's like, and I'm sure there's in him too. It's like me and him are both like, there's that, years on top of years of us. Guys, like I would go out to wrestle, and for him to make it fun, he'd be like, throw a little Bo Nickal in there, throw a little Jason Nolf in there, throw a little Anthony Cassar in there, throw a little David Taylor in there, like to make it fun, because that's what we were working on. That's what we'd work on technique wise. And so he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, I think this is it. And so we were pumped. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. And then I got home. I hadn't even gotten home from the airport. And I was like, told my mom from the airport, drop me off at school to my dad, because my dad's a teacher. And I was like, I want to talk to him and be like, this is it. And then that was it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then, so from your from that visit to when you got to campus, how long was that?
Quick. It was maybe April. It was when the baseball, we went to a baseball game. Mm-hmm. And I think we might have been a week or two off of the spring game.
Yeah.
So it was probably beginning of April. And then I was committed going to the US Open that second time. And then I came here like all the freshmen do.
Yeah.
Late
in the
June.
summer session.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
what was it like when you actually got here and you were like living here and now in it, right? Because I think that, there's probably a little bit of a difference between your visit, even though everything is like pretty straight up with the coaches, it's not different how they treat you, but like the vibe of being in here every day, what did you notice about that and how did that make you feel?
I get turned off of people that like, and not in a bad way. I just, that like disingenuous. I've been burned a few times with like people like being so overly like, what's up, buddy? Like, I love you, man. And like the first week we meet or the day we meet is like, whoa. Like, I don't even know you. Right. And I'm not speaking of anybody in particular, that I usually am kind of like, whoa, like, what's the angle here? And they weren't like that. Yeah. And so I felt like, it was more when I got here, like the biggest thing was like trust, like that they could trust me and I could trust them, to where it is now where I'm like, if I need to hit another workout, I'm like, what do you guys think?
Right.
And then, like I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Cause again, like I trust them 110% that if, win or lose, like I did what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And again, it's the same thing as it just when, not if.
Right.
With these guys, with the best team and best coaches in the world.
Do you feel like that, obviously that relationship between yourself and your coach is super important, having, your dad, having Ben, and now having the coaches here at Penn State, like building that trust for you was like essential?
Yeah. Because again, like what I was saying, me and Ben kind of hit heads earlier on. So like that trust built with my dad, and he did a good job of not making it, like early on it was like, hey, when we're in here, dad's like at home.
Yeah.
So, cause a lot of the kids, it'll be like, dad, stop. And it's like, no, like I'm your coach trying to help you.
Gotta push you.
Exactly. Yeah. And maybe not even like, let's do a hard workout, but like, you gotta, kids don't listen to their dad sometimes. They think they're full of it. And so like trusting him. And then it was like trusting in Ben. And then honestly, and that was the biggest thing because of how many years we had butted heads. And it was like, I need, real quick.
Talk to me a little bit about this butted heads. What do you mean when you say that?
I just felt like, I'm going to take it like me personally. I just felt like I was young and I wanted to, just wanted to bicker and I wanted to think I'm right.
Right.
Just, kind of like that adolescent time where you're kind of like, you think but
you had that more so with Ben than your dad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Me and there was only a few times where like when I got a little older and me and my dad started scrapping a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool because if your dad can still scrap at 50 years old, that's a good thing.
Definitely.
And so that was good. But yeah, and it was just kind of like being young and thinking that I knew more. And so honestly, like I think the butting heads more so was because of me.
Right.
Like I agree. I understand that. And I don't know, this, you got to really like, I'm not going to go super microscope on it to look at it in like terms of like psychology or something, but like maybe it was because of the dynamic with my dad, like more trust being in him. I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not sure. But later it was like, no, like if, I'm being a jerk and Ben thinks I'm being a jerk, then okay, maybe I'm being a jerk. And honestly, like it's helped me a lot in my coming here and just being a good teammate and putting the biggest thing, you got to put ego aside in a room where it's the best in the room. It's like, that's what I want. And that's what I want until I retire. And so, I just feel like that helped me a lot, being, just pulling out the wrong things.
Right. So it's almost like, I guess, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you had a really, really close relationship with your dad, and he's also your coach. And you probably trusted every single thing he said. Then you had a new guy come in. You butt heads a little bit. He's got to earn that trust. Yeah. And there's things that you did wrong in that. Maybe you have a little bit of an ego, but eventually, like, you kind of earn that trust and put your ego aside a little bit. So you're able to have that lesson, and then come into college, you already had that lesson. So now it's like you have good natural instincts on who you can trust or not, but the coaches proved it to you early, and you've seen the results of other guys. And so then there was no period of really butting heads. It was like, a quicker relationship formed that, you could depend on them type of thing.
And I think, honestly, it was the only thing that was wrong in that is I think almost I wanted to earn their trust because, like, again, like I said,
I believe in me, like, type of thing.
Yeah, because I watched not even just like believe in me, but like, can you trust my character as a man more so? Our coaches preach that. So I think I want them to more like who I am, and I'm not giving you 7 different faces. Who I am every day with the 100% is who I am and what I am when I'm out. Because I had already had the 110% from sitting in the stands and trying to steal techniques off of you guys. Like, I had already, like, I had the trust of my dad that he could watch the film and know that that's what just happened. Because a lot of people actually don't know that. Like, a lot of people are not very good at watching film, and then it's like, oh yeah, they did that. And it's like, whoa, like that's way off what just happened. So one, having trust in that, but then having trust because like you guys are just smashing people and the coaches. And it's just like, I already had that trust. I wanted them to trust in me for not even really winning. I just wanted them to trust that, that I'm going to, every day I'm going to come in, I'm going to bring it, and I'm going to give my 110%, and I'm going to try to be the best man that I can.
Nice.
Yeah.